going to consider surface water sources. Remember that if you're going into a drip irrigation system, it's going to take an extensive amount of filtration to be able to keep your emitters from plugging up. Basically, you need to suck the water from a lower portion. So to do that, we've got to be able to vacuum basically the water from the stream or the pond or the lake. To do that, most of our centrifugal pumps are most efficient if the surface water before you start pumping is less than 8 feet from the center line of the centrifugal pump. So we need to have a good firm setting on the edge of this pond or stream that gets us within 8 feet of the surface water of the pump. And that's got to be the level during the middle of the summer when we need to do most of our pumping. Remember, we need to have that intake screen about 3 foot below the surface of the water, or we're going to need to have some type of floating screen that prevents the formation of what we call a vortex. That's the spinning water that allows the air to break suction in the pump. The other issue that we talk about, and Dr. DiCaprio had already really well lined up the discussion about problems with E. coli tainted water or other safety concerns. So that make it difficult for you and make you more willing to look at groundwater if it's available in your location. The other thing that we didn't talk about with the previous discussion was the idea of moving plant diseases from one area to another. Most of our surface water will be contaminated with plant diseases. As we break down those plants, those diseases move with the water. And so we need to make sure that what we plan on growing is not one of the ones that has one of the waterborne diseases that we may pick up through irrigation. Remember to select your surface water source keeping in mind that the lowest level is going to be in August when you need the most water. So you need to be a year ahead or 2 years ahead and make sure that that surface water source is at a high enough level during that low period of time. Because of that, most of the irrigation that we see, about 2/3, almost 70% now, is coming from well water. The size and scope of the well is all dependent on how much water volume you need. We'll talk about that in a second. One thing I want to make sure to warn you about is home wells are very expensive and not dependable sources. We tend to, when we design a home well, the pumping system's designed to push pressure by pushing the pump against a compressed air system. So it goes on and off, and most of our electric motors won't last very long when we start running that thing with the motor running about 50% of the time, 8 hours straight. So don't ruin the home well with this issue. Also make sure that you have proper backflow protection when we start thinking about the contaminants that may come through the drip irrigation line or contaminants that we put in, fertilizers or pesticides, into the irrigation water. We don't want those to end up back in the home well. And municipalities have requirements for backflow protection for municipal pumps. Sometimes those pump protection systems, those backflow systems called reduced pressure zone valves, are more expensive than building a well that's totally separate. So we want to keep those in mind. Your local well driller is going to be your best source of information on whether water is available, what water is available in your area, and your state regulatory association or group that works with well